Well, the little animals is moving around good, and the little precious fawns, they're just starting to be born on the ridge. And oh, ain't they precious. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the foothills of the Smokies. Another chapter of As the Ridge Turns here in East Tennessee. Now, it's been a rainy week here last week. Sun, rain, wind. But it's beautiful this time of year. And I've had a hard week myself. And I want to thank y'all for your prayers. So I hope y'all doing well out there. God bless every one of you. But anyway, guys, it's spring and almost summer here on the ridge. Such a beautiful time. And down here at the swamp, the sinkhole, only the good Lord can help this thing. It gets water in it, but it won't hold it. But anyway, let's see what showed up here on the ridge here this week. The fawns are just beginning to show up. And you can see some of these does, they're still heavy with fawn. Now the moon phase is coming up to full moon here in just a couple of days, and I think about all of them will be born then, except for maybe the later stage of them. But I hope they do well. And ain't they precious? Mommy and her baby. What steps in front of the camera. And they just come and go, waiting on their time for these fawns to be born. And they just browse these woods, the ridge. And the turkey, they're still roaming around. I even seen a tom in the yard the other day. And they just come and go just like the deer do, browsing and feeding. Here a young buck coming up the ridge, growing him out. And the little birds, they're having a good time this time of year, all their nests. And there's old Yeller out making his rounds. And the little coons, they're out during the day real good during the spring, prowling in the woods. And so is the little chimp bucks, we call ground squirrels here in the South. And that looks like old Diane moving up the trail, heading back. And that looks like her climbing the rocks. What's she doing up there? And down at the acorn pile, the deer still browsing and nibbling through as they pass. But here are the old coons. A couple of coons here during the day prowling in them. That's a surprise. But the little squirrels, they're always in them. Always prowling in these old nuts. And they'll find something to eat on. And down at the stump, there's a little thrush resting on a little stump sprig there. And there's a blue jay again. Birds seem to like to get up on this little perch above the top of the woods, the floor of them. And you can catch some good captures of them here. And there's a woodpecker, northern flicker. And a little ground squirrel rests on it. But the squirrels, this is their favorite little spot. They'll find them something to eat on, jump up here and nibble on it. Ain't they precious? And down at the cut, just a good crossing area for the animals unless they want to jump over these rocks. And it looks like a little doe. And that's either Dirty Diane or Dirty Dan or Diane checking out a place under the rock there. And there's old turkey coming up through. Looks like a hen. And there's a mommy doe. She's got her little baby behind her. They just starting to show up. I get a glimpse of them here and there. Look at that. Can't be of just a few days old, trying to follow mommy around. Ain't that so precious? And of course, old Mr. Squirrel, he's always here finding something to eat on. And down at the log, there's a deer herd moving through in the background. They just browse wherever they like. And it looks like a heavy fawn right there, a heavy doe. That looks like her last year's yearlings with her, the twins. But she'll run them off. They're grown. And there's a beautiful little male cardinal. I throwed out a little handful of sunflower seeds for Ricky. But the birds and the coon found it. And when they find it, they won't leave it till it's all gone. Funny they're out during the day like this. Well, little Ricky comes in. He knows something was laying here. But it's all gone. Sorry, Ricky. When you snooze, you lose, old buddy. And at the tree, his buddy's still hanging around. And there's a coon at the day at the tree. Just browsing around. Looking for something to get into. They like these worms when it rains. And that looks like Diane coming up to the Rock Motel. Been out foraging. Now that looks like Dirty Dan there. He's out on the patio, taking it easy. Now, although there's more pictures and a lot of animals at this motel, the camera's just not being tripped to see them all. But he comes in and turns in, takes him a nap. Here's a rare little glimpse of the little cardinal family again. The male and female and a little baby. Looks like the male brings home something to eat, and the mom takes it up to the baby. Ain't that precious? And of course, old Ricky's passing through. In the back door, all I got during the day, I got the camera working again. Just back picture of a groundhog up front. And down at the pond, it's a peaceful place. It's so growed up. These weeds, it's just a swamp. And there's Mommy with last year's twins. They're grown. At the other camera, the deer are here. And so are the other animals. You just really can't see them. I don't really know what to do about it. I don't want to cut the weeds down. It makes it unnatural. But the coons is out during the day. They love this place. They just out browsing during the day. Come nighttime, the coons is everywhere on this ridge, marking their little rock as they come through. Follow the leader. What are we going to get into tonight? There's a little baby possum. Mommy's turned them loose. They're on their own. I hope they do okay. And they just wander this ridge like all these other little animals, and I hope they survive. Right here's what they got to watch for. Old Charlie the coyote. He has no mercy on none of these little animals. But they do what they got to do. Here's a possum right in the camera, saying, "What's going on? Hello." And that looks like Sock's out hunting at night, looking for them field mice. And you can see the doe heavy with fawn, but the moon's fixing to go full, so I'd say they'll all about be born. I hope to see plenty of them. And here's the deer herd. I hope they do good. The old coon down at the acres, they down here at night prowling around. Whatever. And they watching too for old Charlie. He's out watching them, you can bet on. And there's a little rare picture of a flying squirrel. I know they're here, they just ain't got in front of the cameras for a while. Ain't it precious? About the size of a chipmunk. Little flying squirrel. And a little field mice down here too. Down at the cut, there's a possum at night moving up. And at the log, possum moving through there too. And oh yeah, old Mr. Coon's got to come through here. But he's got to stop, see what he can get into and chew on. They're comical, ain't they? And up at the Rock Motel, they're always up here. This is just on their normal routine stop. And there's old Socks sneaking around, looking for them field mice. It's all I filmed on this camera in the nighttime. At the back door, a lot more pictures back here. There's a coon moving in. And another coon coming in. They always use these places. And there's a possum using the back door. And coming back. And there's a little wet skunk. I like to catch their young. And that little field mouse, there's another one right there. If Socks ain't got the other one, or that's the same one, I couldn't tell you. But that's the part of nature here on the ridge. And up on the ridge top, coons moving through, and there's a little precious rabbit. Everything in the world's after that. Here he is, running out of here, jumped in the air. He's gone. And that looks like Smoke. It's got him a field mouse up here. See right there? Moving on. Down at the pond? Yep. The coons is always here. Day and night right now. If they're there, you just can't see them. But come dawn, all the little animals moving around good. Early in the morning. The old coons are really moving around good. Of course, they got young too. They just ain't moving around in their dens. And the deer. Everything's on the move. And another day unfolds here on the ridge. Well, it's time for the little squirrels. They're always into something. Work hard all day long. But they find something to eat on. And they're so comical and relaxing to watch. But everything's after them too. So guys, that's what stepped in front of the cameras last week. Hope the little fawns are starting to show up good. So tune in next week for another chapter of As the Ridge Turns. So take care, God bless, and I'll see you next time.